Hello and welcome to $10,000 Allie coin TFT tournament, where some of the most popular streamers compete against open qualifier winners. Game number 6.
Shaco Akali carry game. He played a Jinx carry game. He played that crazy Mercs Urgot game, and then he just played a Mouse carry game. So he's playing everything and doing it in style. All top 3 finishes so far for Callflow.
All right, here we go. The final game of today. This is the end. We're not doing like a multi-day broadcast. There's no cutoff. There's no elimination. It's just 6 games and see who can call themselves the conqueror, the ruler, the king, the queen, whatever you want to say it. The winner at the end of 2021 will be DQA. Let's hop on board and see. And that tagline tells you everything you need to know. In fact, if he gets a first place, this will be, as far as we know, the second best North American performance ever, shortly behind Robin Songs, who actually very closely mirrored this exact scoreline, except instead of the 6th place, would get a 5th place.
But it's basically the same.
Rest easy that his record's not broken today.
But it's basically the same thing if he gets a first, right? Because it's 1 lag, 1 1 1 1. I don't remember what score Robin got. I just remember the lag.
I believe it was 1-1 lag 1-1-1, but
there you go. We take that.
It's the idea. The feat is equally impressive, and you teed it up before the broad.
Oh, and he gets level up on 1-4.
A prismatic lobby and an opportunity to pick up very powerful options, including level up or Band of Thieves. Both of these are really strong options.
Okay, so Band of Thieves is if he wants to just secure the tournament win. Level Up is if he wants to go for the Robin 5 wins in 6 games. Because Level Up as an augment when you get it this early is just outrageous, the value you get out of pushing levels. But you can, if you're not able to upgrade your board, it can fall off and you don't get the same, you're not getting board strength, right? You're not getting quality things that go onto your board and make you win these fights. So you just try to win via numbers, and then hopefully you scale out and cap out a board on legendaries. So I'm really happy to see him take level up. I think that he's really putting first place in play here. It's going to be super fun to see how this game plays out. He also has great item start.
I think that this is, 1, really exciting, but 2, I think it also is a lot of respect. WoW can make 10 gold, but chooses to pre-level instead because he has a really powerful option with Misfortune, and even builds a bridge to potentially mercenaries later on in the mid-game. Very, very strong start for DQA. But I just want to add a little commentary that this feels like a little bit of respect also for the rest of the competition, because he understands that Callflow has also been playing very solidly today. And with some of his unique creative builds, he also could easily just be contending for the tournament win. So DQA says it's not necessarily just even trying to play for securing the win, but he has to get top 2 to secure it, right? Without a doubt. If he gets 3rd and then Callflow gets 1st, they tie and it goes to tiebreakers, in which we'll talk about it then. And so I think this is just DQA showing that I don't feel very confident that I can just like cruise my way to a victory. I have to go for it all. And level up is a fantastic way to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's part of the interesting dynamic in a TFT tournament where the final lobby isn't one lobby. Because if it's in one lobby, he can adjust based on how Callflow's game is actually going, but he's not going to get the opportunity to do that here, right? He's going to have to observe, just play his game and try to take it into his own hands and play for first place, like you said, because that's the only way he guarantees, right? If you want to guarantee first place, you need a top 2, and then you've won the tournament. And he's saying, this is the Kobe move. It's the Michael Jordan move. It's the, I want the ball in my hands with the game on the line. I believe I can take first place, and I'm really excited to watch him try to do it.
The franticness of how fast he moves his mouse everywhere, just constantly rearranging, and you can associate, right? Every time they click, it's usually associated with a thought that you do have in TFT. This man is thinking 1,000,000 miles an hour, goes up against Prime, who has an item grab back.
What?
Not 1, but 2 Giant Slayers. So
I've never seen that.
Thinking about a Colossus frontline or having a Warmogs in the late game, Prime is going to be able to do some serious work against them.
Yeah, I've never seen that. Double grab bag dropping the exact same item, two Giant Slayers. I guess it could be a lot worse. There are a lot of items that I would really not want 2 copies of, but, double Giant Slayer, it's hybrid damage. It can go on an AP carry or an AD carry. He can spread them out amongst a couple carries, and there are tons of compositions that make use of multiple carries right now, so it'll be fun to see what Prime does with that. Hopping on board with Precedent for the first time.
Ooh, what? That's a
Yeah.
misfortune 2 naturally, F2 3. You gotta be kidding me with this. This is insane. The double Protector Emblem as well is particularly interesting because I think a lot of people associate Protector Emblem with either Mutant or Protector Reroll, which ends up playing Mutants. But in reality, what you could end up doing a lot of times is just playing a really unusual frontline featuring Scion. And I think this is a really, really powerful option here for Precedent.
Yeah, it is, and Misfortune as a unit is really, really strong. I will say that in order for her to truly pop off, you really do want slightly stronger frontline than Precedent has. The Protector trait will be really valuable if he's able to get, a Blitzcrank 2 or maybe a Blitzcrank 1 plus a Darius 2 or something, but he's really far from that. And the problem is if your frontline gets run over, then Misfortune, can get run down. She's a backline unit, and it's much harder for her, especially if she winds up casting her ulti like onto the middle of the map and then your frontline dies, and so you wind up missing a lot of your ulti damage as their front line walks forward. So definitely strong potential here if he's able to round out his front line.
Wonder if he's tempted at all for this Cho'Gath. We know that Protector Cho has been a historically very powerful unit. He ends up going for it, but it could also just be for the rod, so he can make, say, a Morel Namicon. I'm curious though. It would be his third mutant. He does have the Cassin on the bench, and we do know that Cho 3 is still very powerful in the right conditions. The only thing is that it's just not as not as flexible as it used to be, where you can just play Cho'Gath 1 and still stabilize because of how broken that interaction is. He instantly sells, so I think it looks like he's going to stay this course for a while, and I don't blame him. Again, it's not something that I think a lot of people are accustomed to, and it still loses to Kai'Sa, so it does have its problems still in the late game.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if you're going to have a whole bunch of 1-star units, at least if they're going to have a bunch of protector traits, then you're getting some more effective HP on your front line from the shielding they get when they cast. So not bad. Going up against DQA, who has that level up, still 100 HP for DQA, and this fight will be really interesting. He actually gets the Misfortune enforced, such a big deal in this fight, and this is what I'm talking about. Here comes this Misfortune ulti, but the front line is already run over, and we have access to the back line. If she casts again while this Allow is there, she's not going to have enough damage to kill the front line. Here comes the Caitlyn ulti, and there goes the Misfortune 2. So an incredibly powerful unit under the right conditions, and I think Prestivan is very well geared to beat up on some of the weaker boards, but until he gets upgraded front line, he's going to have trouble putting together a consistent streak.
And then we're hopping on board with the duo, the other half of the dynamic duo of Team 7. It's K3 Soju, who is playing an Assassin Trundle. We've seen some people experiment with this kind of variation where you have Assassin Bruisers, and it feels like a throwback to previous sets where people would play assassins with Revenant Bruisers, for example, or you could do other different kind of really tricky things with it. I'm curious to see where it's going to go. Interesting setup by Prime to prioritize a damage variation of this Vex. This makes it feel like Prime is not actually trying to win here very convincingly by having Vex be so vulnerable, but maybe I'm wrong. It does end up getting wiped pretty easily by the Katarina too. So a battle of unusual boards ends up going to Soju in a 5-0 manner, and Soju's on a win streak.
Yeah, absolutely. Soju on a win streak, RamKev on a win streak. DQA actually took a fight loss, it looks like, on stage 2-6, so not able to go full tempo. These lobbies are always wild. Prismatic lobby I kind of hate as a player because it feels so high variance. There's so much random impact going on. But as a caster, I'm here for it, Dan. This is super, super fun as we take stock of this lobby. We have RamKev at 100 HP, Soju at 98. He lost his first fight and then he won out. Meanwhile, on the bottom, we've got Gloop Glop, who's been struggling today at 70 HP, and then Dog, unclear if he lost streak fully. Probably not at 76 HP, but it is possible if he was killing a bunch of units along the way.
One thing that was particularly interesting, because I was watching Dog's POV last game, is him and RamKev both went Clapio, both made insane single-digit HP comebacks, both narrowly missed top 4 and landed 5th. Very interesting how closely associated, and the lobby complexion was actually quite similar, mostly AD with a couple of AP boards. So it was very fascinating to see where both those boards end up converging, and we'll see if Soju ends up leveling, or rather he has leveled. We'll see whether or not he positions specifically for a RamKev and keeps him into account, or how things will be influenced by the fact that he has this Trundle Bruiser. His synergy bar looks very appetizing, by all means. It looks great, but is it actually enough to take down RamKev, who also has a pretty solid board?
Yeah, RamKev with a very solid board, but these assassins are so scary earlier. So many fights are front to back, and you're just not equipped to deal with it. And boom, I mean, Soju has already taken out the damage. We know RamKev will be taking his first loss. That Sunfire is going to burn away. Maybe he gets to kill another unit, but he is absolutely not winning the fight. Really nice fight win from Soju as RamKev and Soju both level to 6th in order to try to protect that streak. Only one of them could be successful.
Woo. It looks like he found a Jin as well, but it's a little bit awkward with the assassin emblem. We'll find out what ends up happening. Let's hop on board with Dog. Dog he's only level 5 right now because he has featherweights 3 and looks like he wants to reroll Twitch.
Ooh.
Now, reroll Twitch has been a composition. Wow. Vex 3 at 5.
Yeah, that's a 3 cost though. We want 2 costs.
Package.
Yeah, it is. But when you take featherweights 3, I think you are all in on this because you can absolutely not afford to pivot to a board that does not take advantage of featherweights because the entire lobby is getting either insane board strength off the prismatic or insane tempo or like, you know, kind of non-board strength, but something that's going to equate to board strength later in the game. And so you can't afford to grab featherweights and then play a standard composition. He essentially has to reroll. And Twitch reroll is a composition we've seen perform quite well with narrow conditions. You need to hit on or ahead of curve, and you need powerful augments for it. I think featherweights 3 is about as powerful of an augment as you can ask for.
It is, and I think if he has some way to get some economic trait benefit from it, we'll see. Does get an opportunity for Chemical Overload! Oh my god! So Chemical Overload is particularly interesting when you reroll Chemtex because you can go for the double whammy. You can start stacking Warmogs on units like Singed and do like some crazy stuff. I've even seen people stack the Twitch and have Twitch hold all these items and then bomb the backline.
I like that. It's like a you know, suicide bomber version of Twitch. This is a very effective strategy. Such good augments for Dog. We just need him to hit these Twitches, right? And he's in a good spot. He's got 5 Twitches at 3/3. We really, I would say that my litmus test for a build like this is we want him to have it by 4/1, right? We want, if he has to dip a little bit on 4/1, so be it. But that's usually the curve that we're looking at for a situation like this. Choosing to sell Talon, so not looking to reroll Talon. I'm surprised to see him prioritizing holding these Ezreals. Is he thinking about throwing some Ezreal reroll into the mix while he's at it and trying to go for some innovators?
Yeah, I am curious about that in particular because Ezreal reroll is completely different in concept, but he does use similar-ish items. You know, I don't mind selling the Talon because you just kind of tech up the assassins. The assassin trait is not what's important for Twitch. It's really the Chemtech. So you usually try to go as deep into the Chemtech tree as you possibly can, ideally 7, maybe even 9 if the game allows you to do that. And then you just end up having Twitch plus an assassin and then just all of these Chemtechs. And it's actually quite fun to watch when you see Twitch delete backlines in 2 autos.
Yeah, and these items on Twitch are absolutely BIS. You want the Runins to spread the damage and the IE since you're going to be playing at least one assassin along with him. So Dog in a really, really good spot. Able to grab a bow here, which I think is the 3rd most important item, going to play for that last Whisper. Does lack on tank items, which would be really valuable in the long run, but choosing to prioritize the more contested items early, and then hopefully when he starts to streak off of having the 3-star units and being on a different tempo than the lobby, he will then kind of come up for air and start grabbing tanky items later in the game as he starts to have less priority on the carousel.
Checking in with RamKev and seeing how he's doing. Not the hottest day so far. I think RamKev in general would probably be the first person to tell you that he's not in his best peak form at the moment, but he's still, even in his B game, is still extremely competitive any tournament he enters, and like casually still a top 20 on the ladder. So this guy, just even and he's not at his best, is still very much performing at top level. Now, whether or not he can continue to dig himself out of this point hole is really dependent on how much mileage he can get out of this board. You can see him just slamming. He has 0 components that are on his bench. Everything is pot committed at this moment. And when you look at this set of item combination, Archangel Staff with Deathblade Runins, it's completely diverging into both AP and AD in the flat sense. What's your read on this situation, Bryce?
I mean, I always struggle to read RamKev situations because he is such a creative and fluid player, and I think that's part of the reason why he's not in peak form right now, is because for him to be in peak form, he needs to do this a lot. He needs to keep playing the game, play all the different lines, and figure out what he thinks about all the different units and their interactions and where he can go from these spots. I think he's in a generic, he's going to play dual carry. He could easily wind up trying to play, Kai'Sa and Fiora, or Urgot and Kai'Sa, or, there's a bunch of different places he can go from here. And I think that part of what makes him such a special player is he has all of those in mind right now. He has, the two things I mentioned as random examples and a dozen other options. He builds boards. He does not worry about playing compositions. And by the way, I believe I saw a Twitch 3 on the right side of our screen. So I said he needed to hit it by 4-1 or earlier. Dog could start absolutely decimating some people with this unit augment combination, and that is very, very scary. You used the phrase lobby warping earlier today in relation to DQA's Tristana, and Dog could be on the exact same path here where he just does so much to punish boards. It can really affect the tempo of other players' opportunities to cap out their board.
You don't see this very often, a reroller streaking on stage 3. Dog is going to be pressuring everybody. On the other side of it, the reason why we're watching this lobby is the person of interest is DQA. DQA's at 63 life. He started off high tempo, low econ with mercenaries at one point, committed to loose streaking. Now, can DQA snap his mercenaries loss streak? I think that is going to be the big question. And assuming he can, because most players at his caliber are able to do so, what can he do to capitalize? So as much as these health standings right now, Soju #1 streaking infinite, Dog on the upswing. I know some players at the bottom, but pretty soon we can see some big things changing in a little bit. 4 streak for DQA. He has a misfortune at 2-star. He's got some okay items so far. A little bit awkward. Too much redundancy, like in terms of like double bow and the double vest to slam. Good setup, but I'm not sure if it's good enough to snap his losing streak right now.
Yeah, unless he goes up against someone who is really, really weak, and it's hard when you're casting because you don't get to see all the boards in the same way that we would. Like, if we were in this lobby, we would quickly scout around and say, okay, he can beat no boards, or he can beat 1 board potentially. This looks like a board that he theoretically could beat. It's kind of weak. It does have that Lysandra too. If this MF is able to cut through the front line fast enough and get access to the back line, we see nice CC from the Zac. Quinn actually applies great CC to the back line, but there's just too much tankiness. It looks like the MF is not able to get the job done ultimately, and MF will kill another unit. Not bad. Not bad at all.
So preserve some HP. He does have a lot of gold, right? And level up helps you preserve a ton of gold. So his 68 allows him, or actually his 81 goes a long way. He's gonna have 50 gold to roll.
And watch him roll. I love watching DQA roll. He's gonna get through this 50 gold in like 15 seconds and pivot his board.
Okay, finds the Urgot, but he doesn't have the Runins, but it's still better than nothing. Finds an Orianna at 2-star. He's really flirting the line between both Urgot and Jhin at the moment. He's really debating whether or not he can even squeeze in this Orianna. She's very expensive, and she's ultimately just a support unit.
He can drop a Bruiser.
Yeah, but the Bruiser's his front line. He understands exactly what you've been saying. He needs to have that sturdy front line. Going up against Prime. Prime does play that misfortune with the Caitlyn support, so a lot of DPS, but the front line is pretty weak. There's only a 1-star Braum. The Vault Breaker does miss the entire back line. DQA's Zac is barely holding, not able to get that second cast, and this Braum is doing the Lord's work, absorbing another Make It Rain. The Victor Death Rays does end up killing some units, but not enough. DQA still hasn't snapped his streak, but he is level 8, and now he's starting to pick up the power pairs. Scion pair, Urgot pair, can also commit this Orianna too, and as soon as he hits another reliable AD carry, Bryce, we're going to see DQA move in to snap that losing streak.
And he's not in panic mode yet. I mean, we see people try to cash out on Mercs with 15 HP and springboard back, and that's in a totally different situation where they're doing it at level 7. Because of the level up augment, he is at level 8 doing this, and so he has a lot higher potential to, for example, hit an Urgot 2, hit a Scion 2, hit a Braum 2, hit a Mundo 2, and make his board a lot scarier. And so we are really, really far from being worried about DQA's ability to cash out in this game.
He's crushing through RamKev's front line pretty easy.
Oh, here we go. MF's going to have access to the back line.
That's right, but the cast and the Kog'Maw is a lot of damage remaining. Caitlyn's ace in the hole is able to get it, and RamKev's able to execute with the mutant. Wow, very close. And you can see that as much as DQA is losing, he's also not losing that much HP, and he has so much power built into his bench. The moment he hits, this man will cash out. Box on the verge of going out in 8th place here. Maybe an opportunity for DQA to capitalize if he can find something really powerful. He's beelining for that Jin, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, for the Runin's opportunity.
Yeah, I think that he actually was trying to lose there. I think that he was overreacting to the fact that he was worried he was going to cash out. I think he's really trying to milk a couple of more fights here if he can pull it off and cash out a little bit later. He wants to win this game, and I think that he realizes that the difference is because of the parabolic growth or the exponential growth in Merc, right? And the way it works is that the pay scale from 6 to 7, the 7's a lot better than 6. From 7 to 8, 8 is a lot better than 7, so on and so forth. And so each successive loss he could pull off in this situation is incredibly valuable. So he would much rather have a 1-unit loss like he just did there than I think he would win. And maybe he's starting to get to a situation where he's worried if you go into stage 5, because then people are rolling down and really capping out their boards. But I don't think we're there yet.
Does end up making this Urgot too. He does have the twin shot in already because of Gangplank, but he can't take out that Misfortune because she is the link to his mercenary trait. It'd be a disaster if DK somehow won and his mercenary trait was not in it, but you would remember the chest. Soju playing the Tempo Bruiser Assassin. This is a build. The first time I saw it was from Rue Astrid, who actually won that lobby, I believe, or got top 2, and it was a very innovative way. And Soju capitalizing on the tempo, utilizing some interesting combinations. And I know this man is not capable of winning a tournament, but Soju put on an impressive performance today, and this game is no exception. Let's take a look at the last augment for today.
Ooh, Salvage Bin is so good for DQA, both because he wants these additional items and because he's slammed a whole bunch of items that are tempo-based items, right, in an attempt to ultimately cash out, but he's got so much potential. And here's a Kaisa in his shop. He gets to move these items onto Scion, which is such a big deal. All of a sudden, he's got this, goes from this insanely weak front line in Allie holding 2 items. He does choose to pass on the Kaisa. I'm a little surprised to see him actually do that. I guess he's gonna lock into this board. Interesting. He sells the Urgot. I'm very curious to hear where he wants to go, because for me, with the Kaisa, he's got a GA if he sells the MF, because he's got the Giant Slayer, and then he can also Rage Blade and then hopefully find another sword for Giant Slayer. Maybe he can find, some more components in order to be able, out of his chest, in order to be able to make a rod-based item on Kaisa. So I'm a little surprised to see him do that. Will be interesting to see if this is enough to cash out going up against Prestivant, who has a pretty mediocre board, and this Scion's in a great spot to be able to consistently hit the front line, but he gets Blitzcrank hook. This MF in the middle of the fight is going to lose a ton of his damage.
All the good news is that the Scion smash and the Jin angle ends up being okay-ish. No, the Jin's being targeted by the ace in the hole! And DQA is flustered. I don't know if he's trying to lose. I think he's really trying hard to win, and clearly what he was rolling for was for a Misfortune replacement so that he can find a way to get this Jin having the right items. There's no way he ever wants to be playing just a 1-item Jin with so many of his components done. All of a sudden, it's a situation where DQA, if he doesn't snap his streak, is going 7th. And this is a spot where I think, like you said, people are spiking. And he also, the player that he was likely to beat, Box, went out in 8th. And so now this is a spot where I really worry if DQA can find a way to stop this mercenary bleeding.
Yeah, my stress level has gone from like a 2 out of 10 that he would cash out 2 turns ago to like an 8 out of 10. We need to see the other boards and see what the opportunity is here, but this is
okay.
Terrifying.
It's terrifying, but it's doable. The only issue is that his item situation seems very scuffed. He can make Archangels, he can make RFC, and that's his comp. This is his item set up. And the problem is he's playing 2 dead units. He's playing Gangplank, absolutely useless. He's playing a Lowy, nothing. Going up against a real board now. And this is 3 items on both of his carries. Immediately his Misfortune gets pulled by the Blitzcrank. The Vault Breaker, it was very nice for him to stall the Misfortune and keep Scion alive. The name of the game is how long can Scion stall for. Jin, with his Curtain Call, does eliminate Misfortune. And now another smash, stalling for 3 seconds. Jin is not able to go into Curtain Call, though, and I think that's going to be a loss for DQA. and he is down to his last life. And all of a sudden, he's on a 10-loss streak. His mercenary chest is outrageous. He got 50 gold ready to go in his cup if he can fill it out and cash out here.
Not like this, Dan. Please say it ain't so. Wait a second. You can't do that, because even if it makes you win the fight, you still lose the game. You have to pray that you play a board that's weak enough for you to somehow beat it. I haven't seen him play Dog Dog in a really long time, and I just have a gut feeling that we're about to see Dog Dog come here and this Twitch just completely obliterate this board. It's not Dog Dog.
Yep.
And this board is kind of weak. It's
6 snipers? There's 6 snipers on this field for Skip.
Oh my god, he's just getting obliterated. The Scion is dead. And so is DQA. Wow, he plays the first or 8th style in the final lobby of the day from ahead. You have to respect it, but you hate to see him go down like that. No Merc cash out for DQA, and potentially his chances of winning this tournament have slipped away.
All right, well, we'll check in and see how he's doing, but the rest of the lobby has done it correctly, right? By all means, they did it smartly. Wait, DQA is not dead? Are we on a stream delay?
We must be on a stream delay. So
We must be on a stream delay because I'm pretty sure DQA has died. But we're gonna hop on board anyways with Soju and see how this goes. As right now, Soju is looking. Oh, he's watching the fight. And
oh my god, it's exactly what I need to see is relive the death of DQA. We're looking at Dog Dog's board for the first time in a while, by the way, and oh my god, is this terrifying. He's only got 2 items on the Twitch, but he wound up with hitting the Singe 3 and the Warwick 3, and the Warwick 3 with those items is just going to ramp up its attack speed ridiculously fast.
Yeah, and Dog Dog is in prime position to close it out as we jump immediately. Time skip forward to 5-3, where this Warwick is completely unstoppable. And Warwick reroll is already a solid comp. Twitch reroll is a solid comp. Now you insert very close to BIS on both, then all of a sudden, it's like the fusion dance. I feel like I'm watching Vegeta and Goku merge into one fighter to take down the greatest villains in the universe.
I love to see it. I was commenting earlier that it's just so fun to have Dog Dog back investing and playing in TFT again. He's such a great intuitive player of the game, and to watch him put on such a strong performance in this tournament, having not played in a TFT tournament, at least a serious one, for some time, right? I'm sure he's played in like Twitch Rivals along the way, but he has not played in one where this field is stacked. This is not a soft field. There's a ton of invited top players. The open qualifier players are all really, really strong. There are very, very few kind of freebies in this tournament. So Dog Dog absolutely proving he belongs to the best. And a last whisper for his Twitch, the best 3rd item is certainly not going to hurt his case for a first place here.
Yeah, very much so. Dog with some unusual I mean, he is re-rolling Ezreal apparently. He still has yet to sell that thing. So unusual. But again, very, very cool to say the least. I haven't seen this kind of variation of the build. His Sin's going to get Zephyr'd. RamKev has that dialed in. That's his entire front line. But his back line is going to all die. The Twitch is completely destroying everything. Where's your DPS, RamKev? The only caveat is that Twitch died and no one was around to receive his hug of death. It doesn't matter. Dog Dog cleaning up. RamKev taking big damage, now down to just 12 hit points. Skipaeus, player who's made it deep in the World Championship, was able to go top 16 in set 5. Looks like he's going to be bowing out here after a rough day of both internet issues and what looks like he's not hitting. And we're taking a look at the rest of what people are doing. Skip finally hits Gen 2. RamKev hits the Malzahar 3. But after the damage has been done, they both took major damage from Dog Dog.
Yeah, and have we seen a board yet that is capable of beating where we know Dog Dog's board is going to cap out? I mean, this man is at 60 HP. He's 60 gold, level 8, so he can easily get to level 9 if he chooses to go that path to cap out his board. And I just haven't seen anything. I mean, we know Prestiven's playing like a weak version of Jin. We know that Soju is playing like a tempo version of Sins, so I guess he can full pivot into something else. I would love to better understand what's going on Prime's board, because I'm just not sure we see anything that has a chance at standing toe-to-toe with even the current version of Dog Dog's board, let alone where it will wind up by the end of the game.
Giant Slayer is doing a ton,
stopping
the healing, so it does actually make it quite competitive. Wow!
Oh, the Heimerdinger!
almost was able to get the kill, and the Warwick just barely gets it. If Precedent was just a tiny bit stronger, that fight would have gone the opposite way. Giant Slayer is the name of the game. When so many units are are over that threshold, it ends up getting so much value. And this Jewel Gauntlet is actually not particularly powerful, so definitely a weak drop here for Dog Dog.
I do appreciate the fact that it's continuing to lean into the strategy of the best defense is a strong offense. I mean, he has literally no defensive item slammed, so why not just give him another offensive item that he can really use to just continue on this pain train. His front line is evaporating in these fights, but if you kill them before they kill you, it does not matter.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised to see him hold so many quality units on his bench, like the Zac 2, and he's clearly going for Zac 3.
Oh my god, just an immediate Akali 2 here?
Okay, level fast 9. Able to get that going. And Soju has to cap out with Akali because he's been playing Assassins. He actually just found 2 more Akalis. He's ready to go. He has so many units ready to jump into the back line. His front line is just Bromtu and the Zac. Gonna move at the very last second just to dodge in case he has a Zephyr. But full crit Akali. No Social Light necessarily needed, but he doesn't have the Syndicate to heal either. So the Akali's actually quite vulnerable without a Guardian Angel. And no Syndicate, no Social Light, deleting Precedent's back line minus Jhin very quickly. And now Soju trying to come in and eliminate his duo partner. If he can deal big damage, maybe even 20, find a way to have a showdown between Prime and Dog Dog. Just narrowly surviving, though.
And I'm a little sad to see him pass on these Akalis. That's another Akali, so he would have a second Akali 2 here. With that Nico's help, and given the state of Dog Dog's board, I would have loved to see Soju play for Akali 3 here. It would be a really fun way to end this tournament, and I think there's actually a chance he could get there. He's got 55 HP, he's level 9, no one else is playing the unit, so interesting to see him opt to pass on that as a possible out. He's going to itemize this Fiora, who will be very scary as a secondary carry in this composition. I'm not sure it's enough to beat what will ultimately become Dog Dog's board, but it might be good enough to beat where Dog Dog is at right now.
Well, the good news is that his backline units are his assassins, and so he doesn't actually have them vulnerable to Twitch. They jump straight into units like the Janna, the Monsoon for the temporary stun is actually good enough. Akali is able to execute, and it's not just down to Warwick. I think he's found the solution. Yes, Dog Dog board is very scary, but this is actually the second consecutive loss in a row for Dog Dog. He actually ended up dropping. Prime and Precedent are both dead. Skipaeus with the comeback in that top 3 and yet another Akali. I think the prophecy that was foretold might end up coming true. We have 5 Akalis, 3 more away from the greatest finish to a TFT tournament that we'll see yet. Being able to find a legendary 3-star for the closing segment would just be the cherry on top.
It absolutely would be, but there he goes. He sells it. He does not believe in the dream, Dan. He doesn't understand that Mort Dog is watching and has turned on the hat. So here we go. Soju is able to hit the Fiora 2, going up against this insane 6 sniper board with a all-alone solo frontline Mundo that's getting enforced. And here we go. The carries are onto the back line, and can they kill him? There is a GA back there on Orianna, but is it going to be enough? It does not look like it. This Akali is just absolutely cutting this backline to shreds. The Fiora cast comes through, and it is enough, barely. These fights are so fast, and Skip is out. It looks like Dog Dog beat Skip as well. So we have our final 2, and I can't say that I have seen this matchup before. It is a Twitch 3, Singe 3, Warwick 3 into the full Assassins. What are we looking at here? What are the win conditions? What are the players trying to get out of these boards?
It's good TFT is what you're watching here, Bryce. You have one person who takes a conventional build, puts a little bit of a twist on it, right, with the Twitch stuff. And it's already an off-meta comp. People don't play it that often unless they get their conditions, and they're kind of crazy. The second is Soju's just kind of improvising and playing good boards. This feels like a throwback to previous stuff. He's going to itemize a second Akali too, which I love because her perfect execution will be able to help each other mark. He's saving his Nikos because he has 55 life, recognizing that doesn't need to actually make that happen right now. He has plenty of time to give. He's going to go ahead and go up against Dog Dog. Dog Dog can't die at 27. And right now the Akali's immediately onto that Warwick. If she can get past out of the range and heal up and execute, Warwick is down. It's just down to Twitch. The chemical explosion does end up missing the Akali, but Twitch is able to get it done. And Soju does take a 16 HP loss. Finds the Mundo 2.
Okay, I think we're heading to stage 7, Dan. I haven't seen a tourney game go to stage 7 in a little while, but I think there's no way either of these people are killing the other. There's some repositioning going on. He's getting his front line more in the face. This is really smart adaptation from Soju. The reality is, when you're playing the Sins like this, if you let him get away with full front line and carries, then you're not punishing the downside of that positioning for him. So he says, you know what? If you're going to put your Kai'Sa in the front line, you're going to put other valuable units in the front line, I'm going to try to see if I can CC them. And look, he forces Dog to actually move that Kai'Sa from the second row into the third row, it looks like. Actually, no, it stays in the second row. Tough to reposition if you're Dog because of the exile value. You have to keep those units far away from each other. That Kai'Sa 2 does jump into a place of relative safety in this fight, and is casting away, but here comes the Fiora. It is not enough.
Okay. This is definitely time for concern a little bit. Quicksilver, not exactly what he needs. These fights are ending even before really the 10-second mark kicks in for the full CC immunity. Ionic Spark, actually kind of insane for this comp, given that he does deal a good amount of magic damage. The problem is that Soju's board isn't living long enough. These frontline units are effectively useless in the face of instant burst kills. It doesn't really matter if you have a Braum 2 or a Braum 1 or a Darius 1 if they all die in 1 or 2 shots. Finds an item remover. I wonder if that makes it any more appetizing to potentially find another good Akali mix. But short of Akali 3, I feel like Dog might close this out right here. That's a Jace 2 on the opposite side.
Jace 2 on this side as well.
Here.
He has to use this Nico.
He has to. He knows he does.
Yeah.
These items on Jace are really good. 2 Runaan's Hurricanes is fantastic, but he has to protect it. And I wonder if he's going to reposition accordingly. But ends up frontlining the Jace instead, going to hammer mode. Nico instead is used not on the Akali number 2. And here we go, what could potentially be the last fight. An immediate place of the rod just for a last-second ditch effort. Twitch, completely uncontested. Akali comes to the back line. Twitch escapes without dying. Janna pushes back with the Monsoon for a last second, and now it's just down to the Akalis and Fioras versus the Kai'Sa. It's a battle of the legendaries. And Soju barely able to edge it out. What was that difference maker? Was it the Thief's Gloves, or was it just the CC and the lack of execution on both sides? Twitch kept targeting the frontline unit, finds an Akali too.
I mean, Soju's board is just a lot more capped out. This Kai'Sa 2 is actually living, right? It wasn't living in the previous fight, so it's getting multiple cast off and applying an extra source of damage. I also think that where the explosions are happening matters a lot, because there's so much value out of all these 3-star chemical explosions. To be honest, these fights are so fast and so chaotic, they're ending so quickly. Okay, so he's going to backline the Braum. Did Dog move the Twitch? He did move the Twitch. Will this aggro onto the Braum still, or was it going to go onto this Janna? It's on the Braum, so it's really, really good positioning by Soju, because this Twitch is wasting its value early on in the fight. The Akali is jumping around. Here comes the Fiora cast. It is on to the Kai'Sa, but the Kai'Sa is still living. Dog's got this fight. Will it be fatal? It is. It is perfect, lethal, and Dog takes home the lobby. Hard fought from Soju. What a finish to that game.